Welcome, gentle dreamer, to a journey through the peaceful world of Animal Crossing, where time moves slowly and kindness flows like morning sunlight through ancient oak trees. Tonight, we'll explore the complete tapestry of every special soul who has graced these tranquil villages, from the wise owls who guide us through starlit nights to the traveling merchants whose songs echo across seasons. This is a story of community and connection, of simple joys and enduring friendships that span generations. So settle into your favorite chair, let your breathing slow, and drift with us into a world where every day brings gentle wonder and every character has a story worth telling. In the beginning, when the first villages were nothing more than clearings in endless forests, and the concept of community existed only as a whispered dream carried on evening breezes, there emerged a figure whose vision would shape the very foundation of what we now know as the Animal Crossing world. Tom Nook, that industrious tanuki whose brown and cream fur has become as familiar as sunrise itself, represents something far more profound than the simple shopkeeper many believe him to be. The story of Tom Nook begins not with the successful businessman we know today, but with a young tanuki whose heart burned with dreams larger than the small woodland community of his birth. In those early days, when commerce was a foreign concept to most forest dwellers, and the idea of helping strangers build homes seemed as impossible as catching stars in butterfly nets, Tom Nook possessed an unusual combination of entrepreneurial spirit and genuine care for others that would define his entire approach to life. His journey toward becoming the cornerstone of every Animal Crossing community was neither swift nor without its challenges. Like many young dreamers, Tom Nook left his hometown with hopes of making his fortune in the big city, carrying nothing but determination and an unshakable belief that success could be built on a foundation of helping others achieve their own dreams. The city, with its towering buildings and endless maze of unfamiliar faces, tested his resolve in ways that his peaceful forest upbringing had never prepared him for. It was in these urban depths that Tom Nook first encountered the harsh realities of business without heart, of profit pursued at the expense of community, of success measured only in bells rather than in the happiness of those served. The lessons he learned during this period of his life were bitter ones, teaching him the difference between mere commerce and true service, between taking advantage of others and genuinely helping them build better lives. Yet, rather than becoming cynical or hardened by these experiences, Tom Nook absorbed these lessons and transformed them into wisdom. He understood that true success could not be measured simply in accumulated wealth, but in the number of families helped, the communities built, the dreams made manifest through patient guidance and unwavering support. This revelation would become the philosophical foundation upon which he would build his entire life's work. When Tom Nook eventually returned to the simpler life of smaller communities, he brought with him not just business acumen, but a revolutionary approach to commerce that placed community welfare above personal profit. His famous willingness to extend credit without interest, to allow payment plans that stretch across seasons, to accept whatever form of contribution someone could manage. These were not the practices of a ruthless businessman, but of someone who understood that true prosperity comes from lifting up everyone around you. The relationship between Tom Nook and the Able sisters represents one of the most profound partnerships in the entire Animal Crossing universe, a bond forged in mutual respect and shared commitment to serving their communities. In the early days, when both were struggling young entrepreneurs trying to establish themselves, they learned to support each other through the inevitable challenges that come with building something meaningful from nothing. Tom Nook's deep friendship with Sable Able, in particular, speaks to his character in ways that mere business transactions never could. Here was a young hedgehog who had sacrificed her own childhood to raise her younger sisters after their parents' tragic death, working endless hours at her sewing machine to keep food on the table and hope alive in their small family. Tom Nook saw in Sable's dedication a reflection of his own commitment to service, and their friendship became a source of strength for both during their most difficult times. The way Tom Nook speaks of those early days, when he would visit the Able sisters' shop not just as a customer but as a friend checking on their welfare, reveals the depth of his caring nature. He understood that Sable's quiet demeanor masked not rudeness or disinterest, but the exhaustion of someone carrying burdens far too heavy for her young shoulders. His gentle patience with her, his willingness to engage in conversation even when she seemed too tired to respond, showed a level of emotional intelligence that would later make him such an effective mentor to countless residents. This same caring approach extends to his relationship with Timmy and Tommy, those eager young tanuki who hang on his every word and mirror his every movement with the devoted attention that only the truly beloved teacher receives from willing students. Tom Nook's role as mentor to these twins goes far beyond simple business training. He serves as father figure, teacher, and guide, shaping not just their professional skills but their character and values. The way Timmy and Tommy speak in their characteristic overlapping dialogue, finishing each other's sentences and echoing each other's enthusiasm, reflects not just their close bond as brothers, but their shared devotion to the principles Tom Nook has taught them. They have learned from him that business is not about extracting maximum profit from every transaction, but about building relationships that last across seasons and years, about treating every customer not as a source of income, but as a neighbor, deserving of respect and care. Tom Nook's approach to helping new residents establish themselves in their communities represents perhaps the most radical aspect of his business philosophy. When someone arrives in a village with nothing but the clothes on their back and dreams in their heart, Tom Nook doesn't see a credit risk or a potential source of quick profit. Instead, he sees someone who needs guidance, support, and the kind of patient mentoring that allows dreams to slowly take root and grow into reality. The progression from tent to house to mansion that characterizes every resident's journey is not merely a series of transactions, but a carefully designed path of personal growth and community integration. Tom Nook understands that a person's living space is far more than mere shelter. It is a reflection of their personality, a sanctuary for their dreams, and a foundation from which they can contribute to the greater community around them. His willingness to extend credit without traditional collateral requirements speaks to a level of trust in others that borders on the revolutionary. In a world where most financial institutions demand guarantees and impose strict requirements before lending, Tom Nook operates on the simple principle that most people, when given the opportunity and proper support, will honor their commitments and work toward building something better for themselves and their neighbors. The flexibility of his repayment terms, allowing residents to pay in bells, in services, in items they've crafted or found, or even through simple participation in community life, demonstrates an understanding that wealth comes in many forms, and that contribution to the common good can take countless different shapes. This approach has enabled countless residents who might otherwise never have had the opportunity to own their own homes to gradually build equity and stability while learning valuable lessons about responsibility and community participation. Perhaps most remarkably, Tom Nook's business model has proven sustainable across generations of communities, suggesting that his approach is not merely idealistic but genuinely practical. By investing in people, rather than simply extracting profit from them, by building long-term relationships rather than pursuing short-term gains, he has created a system that benefits everyone involved while maintaining the financial stability necessary to continue serving new residents as they arrive. The reputation Tom Nook has acquired as a crook or unscrupulous businessman represents one of the great ironies of the Animal Crossing world. This perception, often held by those who have never actually experienced his services firsthand, fails to account for the revolutionary nature of what he offers. In a world where most landlords and lenders impose strict requirements and harsh penalties for late payments, Tom Nook's patient flexibility can seem almost too good to be true. The source of this misunderstanding often lies in the very generosity of his terms. When someone is accustomed to traditional business practices, high interest rates, strict payment schedules, harsh penalties for missed deadlines, the idea of a lender who charges no interest and accepts payment in whatever form the borrower can manage seems suspicious. The assumption becomes that there must be some hidden cost, some secret mechanism by which Tom Nook extracts his true profit from the arrangement. Yet decades of community experience have proven that Tom Nook's approach is exactly what it appears to be, a genuine attempt to help others build better lives, while maintaining a sustainable business that can continue serving future generations. His profit comes not from exploitation but from volume and efficiency, from the simple fact that helping large numbers of people achieve their dreams creates enough economic activity to support both his business and the broader community. The cyclical nature of Tom Nook's role in every new community reflects his understanding that true service is not a one-time transaction, but an ongoing commitment that spans seasons and years. He recognizes that each new resident who arrives brings unique needs, dreams, and challenges that require personalized attention and adapted solutions. His ability to remain patient and supportive through countless repetitions of similar interactions speaks to a character that finds genuine satisfaction in helping others succeed. This consistency across different communities and different generations of residents has made Tom Nook something of a legend in the Animal Crossing world. A figure whose presence guarantees that anyone with the desire to build a better life will find the support and guidance necessary to make that dream a reality. His shops serve not just as places of commerce, but as anchors of stability in communities that might otherwise lack the institutional support necessary for sustained growth and prosperity. The deeper philosophy underlying Tom Nook's approach to business and community building reflects an understanding that true wealth is measured not in individual accumulation, but in collective prosperity. By helping each resident succeed, he strengthens the entire community. By investing in relationships rather than simply maximizing profit margins, he creates the kind of social capital that makes communities resilient and sustainable across time. As we observe Tom Nook going about his daily routines, greeting customers with genuine warmth, offering advice that goes far beyond mere sales transactions, checking on the progress of residents who are working toward their next home improvement, we witness someone who has found a way to align personal success with community service. His contentment comes not from the bells in his till, but from the satisfaction of knowing that his work makes a meaningful difference in the lives of others. In the quiet moments of evening, when the shops have closed and the community settles into peaceful rest, Tom Nook's legacy is visible in every home he has helped build, every dream he has helped nurture into reality, every resident who has found stability and belonging through his patient guidance. He represents the best of what commerce can be when it serves not just profit but purpose, not just individual success but collective flourishing. The Tanuki, who began as a young dreamer with big ambitions, has evolved into something far more valuable, a cornerstone of community life, a bridge between dreams and reality, and a living example of how business can be both successful and genuinely beneficial to everyone it touches. In Tom Nook, we find not just a shopkeeper, but a philosopher of practical kindness, whose life's work demonstrates that the most profitable investment anyone can make is in the dreams and well-being of their neighbors. In the heart of every Animal Crossing community stands a modest building whose humble exterior belies the profound story contained within its walls, the tailor shop of the Able sisters, where 3 hedgehogs have woven not just fabric, but the very threads of resilience, sacrifice, and unbreakable family bonds that bind their world together like the finest silk. Their story begins not with needles and thread, but with tragedy so deep it carved channels through which love would flow for generations to come. Sable, Mabel, and the sister who would later be known as Label were born into a family where creativity and craftsmanship flowed as naturally as morning dew collecting on spider webs. Their parents were artisans in the truest sense, hedgehogs whose dedication to their craft had elevated simple tailoring into something approaching art. The shop that would one day bear their daughter's name was already established as more than a place of business. It was a sanctuary where the community's dreams took tangible form, where special occasions were marked with garments that captured the joy of celebrations and the solemnity of important moments. The Able parents understood that clothing serves purposes far beyond mere protection from the elements or adherence to social conventions. In their skilled hands, fabric became a means of expression, a way for residents to communicate their personalities and aspirations to the world around them. A carefully chosen pattern could reflect someone's connection to nature, while a particular color might represent their hopes for the future or their appreciation for the changing seasons. Their workshop was filled with the gentle sounds of creativity, the soft whisper of scissors through silk, the rhythmic tap of needles against thimbles, the quiet hum of satisfaction that comes from work done with love and attention to detail. Young Sable would sit for hours watching her parents work, absorbing not just their techniques but their philosophy that every stitch should be placed with intention, every seam crafted to last across seasons of wear and washing. Mabel, younger and more spirited, brought laughter into the workshop with her endless questions and boundless curiosity about every aspect of their parents' craft. She wanted to understand not just how things were made, but why certain choices were better than others, why some fabrics worked well together while others clashed, why patience in the cutting stage led to better results in the final garment. The sister who would eventually become Label was perhaps the most creatively ambitious of the 3, even in childhood showing an intuitive understanding of how fashion could push boundaries while still serving practical needs. Her sketches filled notebook after notebook, with designs that combined traditional techniques with innovative approaches, garments that honored the past while pointing toward future possibilities. The tragedy that would reshape their lives forever came without warning, as such disasters always do. Their parents, traveling to a distant town to acquire rare materials for a particularly important commission, were caught in an accident that claimed both their lives in a single, devastating moment. The 3 young hedgehogs, who had awakened that morning as cherished daughters in a stable, loving family, found themselves by evening transformed into orphans, facing an uncertain future, with nothing but each other and the shop their parents had built with such care and dedication. Sable, though still barely more than a child herself, understood with the terrible clarity that sometimes comes in moments of crisis that the responsibility for keeping their family together now rested entirely on her shoulders. At an age when most young animals are focused on games and friendships, on learning and growing under the protective guidance of their parents, she made the conscious decision to sacrifice her own childhood to preserve what remained of their family unit. The weight of this responsibility was crushing in ways that no one who has not faced similar circumstances can fully comprehend. Sable had to master not just the technical aspects of running a tailoring business, the cutting and sewing, the pattern making and fitting, the purchasing of materials and management of inventory, but also the complex emotional and psychological work of serving as both sister and surrogate mother to Mabel and Label. Her days began before sunrise and stretched long past sunset, filled with the endless tasks required to keep both shop and family functioning. She had to learn to read the subtle signs that indicated when her younger sisters needed comfort, guidance, or simply the reassurance that despite their parents' death, they were still loved and protected. She had to maintain the shop's reputation for quality work, while simultaneously ensuring that Mabel and Label continued their education and had some semblance of normal childhood experiences. The isolation that came with this overwhelming responsibility was perhaps the cruelest aspect of Sable's sacrifice. While other young animals her age were forming friendships and romantic relationships, exploring their interests, and discovering their place in the world, she was chained to the sewing machine by duty and love in equal measure. Her social interactions became limited to the brief exchanges with customers, and even these were often stilted by her exhaustion and the constant worry about whether she was doing enough to care for her sisters properly. Yet Sable's commitment never wavered, even during the darkest moments when the future seemed uncertain and the burden felt too heavy to bear. She developed an almost supernatural ability to stretch their meager resources, to find ways to keep the shop supplied with materials even when money was scarce, to maintain the quality of their work even when fatigue made every stitch feel like an enormous effort. Her relationship with the sewing machine became something bordering on the mystical. Hours upon hours spent hunched over its mechanical precision transformed the act of sewing from mere work into a form of meditation, a rhythm that provided both income and a kind of spiritual sustenance. The steady hum of the machine became the heartbeat of their reconstructed family, the sound that meant safety and continuity in a world that had proven capable of devastating unpredictability. Mabel, witnessing daily the enormous sacrifices Sable was making for their family's survival, developed her own unique way of contributing to their collective well-being. Though still a child, she understood intuitively that her role was to bring lightness and hope into their often overwhelming circumstances. Her natural cheerfulness and social gifts became tools she wielded deliberately, ensuring that customers felt welcomed and appreciated even when Sable was too exhausted for extended conversation. As Mabel grew older, her responsibility for managing the shop's customer relations expanded naturally. She developed an encyclopedic knowledge of their regular customers' preferences, remembering not just their sizes and favorite colors, but their personalities and the occasions for which they needed clothing. Her genuine interest in others' lives and her gift for making people feel special transformed routine transactions into meaningful social interactions that strengthened the shop's connection to the broader community. The youngest sister, who would later reinvent herself as Label, struggled more obviously with the constraints that their circumstances had placed on their family. Her artistic ambitions and creative energy felt cramped by the practical necessities that dominated their daily life. While she understood and appreciated Sable's sacrifices, she also chafed against the limitations of traditional tailoring, yearning for opportunities to explore fashion as a form of artistic expression rather than simply practical service. This tension came to a head as she reached young adulthood, and the conflict between family loyalty and personal ambition became impossible to ignore. The shop that had been their salvation also felt like a prison to her creative spirit, and the routine of serving the same customers with the same types of garments seemed to offer no outlet for the innovative ideas that filled her sketchbooks and occupied her dreams. Her decision to leave home and pursue her fashion dreams in the larger world was perhaps inevitable, But it was also devastating for the family unit that Sable had worked so hard to preserve. The departure felt like a betrayal to Sable, whose entire adult life had been structured around keeping their family together. While for Label, it felt like the only way to avoid a lifetime of regret over dreams unfulfilled. The years that followed their sister's departure were marked by a complex mixture of hurt, understanding, and gradual healing. Sable and Mabel had to learn to operate as a pair rather than a trio, redistributing responsibilities and developing new rhythms that could sustain both shop and family with one less contributor. The financial pressure increased, as did the workload, but they also discovered strengths they hadn't known they possessed. During this period, Sable's friendship with Tom Nook became particularly important to their survival. His understanding of their situation and his willingness to provide both practical support and genuine companionship helped bridge the gap left by their sister's absence. Their conversations, often conducted while Sable worked at her machine, provided her with the adult interaction and emotional support she had been lacking since taking on her overwhelming responsibilities. Tom Nook's visits to their shop served multiple purposes beyond simple business transactions. He understood that Sable's apparent coldness toward customers stemmed not from rudeness, but from exhaustion and the emotional protection mechanisms she had developed to survive her circumstances. His patient efforts to draw her into conversation, his willingness to share stories about his own challenges and experiences, gradually helped her remember that isolation was a choice rather than an inevitable consequence of her responsibilities. The transformation that occurred in Label during her years away from home was profound and complex. Her experiences in the broader fashion world taught her valuable lessons about creativity, ambition, and the importance of staying true to one's artistic vision, but they also helped her understand what she had given up when she left her family behind. Success in her chosen field, while gratifying, could not entirely fill the void left by broken family connections. Her eventual return to the community, first as the glamorous LaBelle and later as the more grounded Label, represented not just personal growth, but a recognition that true fulfillment comes from balancing individual achievement with meaningful relationships. She had learned to be successful on her own terms, but she had also learned that success without family connection felt hollow and incomplete. The reunion between the three sisters was not immediate or effortless. Too much hurt had accumulated on all sides. Too many years had passed without the daily interactions that maintain close family bonds. Sable's resentment over what she perceived as abandonment had to be balanced against Label's need for acknowledgement that her decision to leave had been necessary for her personal development. Mabel, who had maintained her role as the family's emotional center throughout these difficult years, played a crucial part in facilitating their reconciliation. Her natural empathy and her position as the sister who had experienced both Sable's sacrifices and Label's absence from different perspectives allowed her to help each of them understand the other's point of view. The gradual healing of their relationship became a testament to the resilience of family bonds and the power of forgiveness to bridge even the deepest hurts. As they worked together to incorporate Label's expanded skills and broader perspective into their traditional shop, they created something that was both familiar and renewed, a business that honored their parents' legacy while embracing the growth and changes that time inevitably brings. The Able Sisters shop, as it exists in the present day, represents the culmination of this long journey through tragedy, sacrifice, separation, and reconciliation. Sable's position at her sewing machine, still working with the dedication and precision that saved their family, has evolved from desperate necessity into chosen purpose. Her conversations with trusted friends like Tom Nook reveal a personality that has maintained its essential kindness despite years of overwhelming responsibility. Mabel's role as the shop's public face has allowed her natural gifts for social connection to flourish, making her one of the most beloved figures in any community where the sisters establish their business. Her ability to make customers feel valued and understood transforms routine shopping experiences into moments of genuine human connection that enrich the social fabric of their entire community. Label's contributions bring contemporary perspectives and innovative techniques that keep the shop relevant and exciting while honoring the traditional craftsmanship that remains their foundation. Her designs reflect both her individual artistic vision and her renewed appreciation for the collaborative process that makes family businesses truly special. Together, the three sisters have created more than just a successful business. They have built a living monument to the power of love to overcome adversity, of family bonds to survive even the most severe testing, and of traditional crafts to adapt and evolve while maintaining their essential character. Their shop serves the community not just by providing clothing, but by demonstrating that it is possible to honor the past while embracing the future, to maintain individual identity while contributing to collective well-being. The threads they weave extend far beyond the fabric that passes through their hands. In every garment they create, in every customer they serve, in every day they spend working together as a reunited family, they continue the work their parents began, creating beauty, serving their community, and proving that love and dedication can overcome any obstacle. Their story has become part of the foundation upon which every Animal Crossing community is built. A reminder that families can survive even the most devastating losses and emerge stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than they were before. As evening settles over their shop and the three sisters close their doors after another day of honest work and caring service, their legacy extends beyond the satisfied customers who carry their creations home. They have proven that tradition and innovation can coexist, that family bonds can stretch without breaking, and that true success is measured not in individual achievement, but in the ability to contribute something meaningful to the world, while remaining true to the values that define who we are at our deepest level. In the hallowed halls where knowledge takes physical form and wonder is catalogued with scientific precision, two owl siblings have dedicated their lives to preserving the memories of worlds both ancient and contemporary, their efforts creating sanctuaries of learning that serve as bridges between the mysteries of the past and the possibilities of the future. Blathers and Celeste represent a scholarly tradition that extends far beyond their individual contributions, embodying the eternal human desire to understand, preserve, and share the accumulated wisdom of ages with those who hunger for knowledge and beauty in equal measure. The museum, that magnificent repository of natural history and cultural artifacts that graces every mature Animal Crossing community, stands as perhaps the most profound testament to the power of dedicated scholarship and careful curation that exists in their world. Within its carefully climate-controlled chambers and thoughtfully arranged display cases lies nothing less than the complete story of life itself, told through fossilized bones that speak of creatures long vanished, living specimens that demonstrate the incredible diversity of contemporary existence, and artistic creations that capture the highest aspirations of civilized society. Blathers himself represents the culmination of a family tradition that has valued learning and preservation above all other pursuits. His ancestors were scholars and teachers, owls whose large eyes and natural nocturnal habits made them ideally suited for the kind of detailed observation and patient study that serious academic work requires. From his earliest childhood, Blathers was surrounded by books and specimens, theories and discoveries, growing up in an environment where curiosity was not merely encouraged but considered the highest virtue. The young owl's fascination with archaeology and paleontology developed naturally from this scholarly environment, but it was driven by something deeper than mere academic interest. In the fossilized remains of ancient creatures, Blathers found tangible connections to worlds that existed millions of years before any contemporary observer could remember them. Each bone fragment and preserved shell represented not just scientific data, but a story waiting to be told. A piece of the vast puzzle that explains how life on their world developed and changed across geological ages. His dedication to understanding these ancient mysteries led him through years of rigorous study and fieldwork, learning not just the technical skills required for proper excavation and preservation, but also the interpretive abilities necessary to read the stories that fossilized remains tell about climate, behavior, and the complex relationships between different species. The patience required for this work, the careful brushing away of sediment, grain by grain, the meticulous documentation of each find's context and condition, suited his naturally methodical temperament perfectly. Yet Blather's expertise extends far beyond the fossilized remains that first captured his imagination. His knowledge of contemporary natural history is equally comprehensive, encompassing everything from the tiniest insects to the largest marine creatures, from the most common garden plants to the rarest orchids that bloom only under specific conditions. This breadth of understanding reflects not just academic thoroughness, but a genuine appreciation for the interconnectedness of all living things. The museum's natural history collection, under Blather's careful stewardship, serves multiple purposes that extend far beyond simple display and storage. Each specimen is positioned not just for optimal viewing, but to tell part of a larger story about adaptation, survival, and the elegant complexity of natural systems. The arrangement of displays follows both scientific logic and aesthetic principles, creating an environment where visitors can appreciate beauty while absorbing knowledge, where wonder and learning reinforce each other in the most productive possible way. Blather's approach to sharing knowledge reflects his understanding that effective education requires more than simply presenting facts and expecting absorption. His explanations of archaeological finds and biological specimens are crafted to engage different types of learners, incorporating storytelling elements that make abstract concepts concrete, using metaphors and analogies that help visitors connect new information to their existing understanding of the world. The famous contradiction in Blather's character, his profound expertise regarding insects, combined with his personal horror of living specimens, adds a delightfully human dimension to his scholarly persona. This phobia, which causes him to react with obvious distress whenever presented with live bugs, demonstrates that even the most learned experts can maintain personal quirks and limitations that make them more relatable to those who lack their specialized knowledge. Rather than undermining his credibility as a naturalist, Blather's bug phobia actually enhances his appeal as an educator. Visitors find it easier to approach someone who displays obvious vulnerability and admits to personal fears, even when those fears seem irrational given his professional expertise. His willingness to accept insect donations despite his discomfort demonstrates a level of dedication to his mission that transcends personal comfort, making his contributions even more admirable. The relationship between Blathers and his sister Celeste represents one of the most touching examples of sibling support and complementary talents in the entire Animal Crossing universe. Where Blathers focuses his attention on the earthly realm, the fossils buried in soil, the creatures that inhabit land and sea, the plants that grow in gardens and forests, Celeste lifts her gaze to the heavens, dedicating her life to understanding the celestial mechanics that govern the movement of stars and planets. Celeste's role as astronomer and keeper of stellar wisdom provides the perfect counterpoint to her brother's terrestrial focus. While he reads the history of life in ancient bones and living specimens, she reads the future in the patterns of celestial bodies, understanding how the positions of stars and planets influence everything from seasonal changes to the optimal timing for various activities. Her knowledge encompasses not just the scientific aspects of astronomy, but also the cultural and spiritual traditions that have grown up around humanity's relationship with the night sky. The meteor showers that periodically grace the skies above Animal Crossing communities become opportunities for Celeste to share her passion for astronomical wonder with visitors who might otherwise never look up from their daily concerns, to consider the vast cosmic processes occurring above their heads. Her ability to predict these celestial events and explain their significance transforms what might be simple, visual spectacle into profound educational experiences. During these special nights when stars seem to rain down from the heavens like celestial confetti, Celeste serves as both guide and inspiration, helping observers understand what they are witnessing while encouraging them to make wishes that connect their earthly hopes to the infinite possibilities suggested by the cosmos. Her DIY recipes for star-themed furniture and decorations allow visitors to bring pieces of astronomical wonder into their homes, creating permanent reminders of magical nights spent contemplating their place in the universal order. The philosophical dimensions of Celeste's work extend far beyond mere technical astronomy. Her understanding of celestial mechanics serves as a foundation for deeper contemplation of humanity's relationship with forces larger than themselves, the way individual lives fit into cosmic patterns that span geological ages, and the comfort that can be found in recognizing that current troubles are temporary events in the context of eternal stellar cycles. The museum itself, as envisioned and maintained by the Owl siblings, transcends its function as a simple repository of objects to become something approaching a temple of knowledge and beauty. The careful attention paid to lighting, acoustics, and spatial flow creates an environment where visitors naturally adopt the contemplative attitude most conducive to genuine learning. The hushed atmosphere encourages reflection and deep observation rather than hurried consumption of information. Each wing of the museum tells its own story while contributing to the larger narrative about life, time, and the accumulated achievements of consciousness, seeking to understand itself and its environment. The fossil wing speaks to deep time and the patient processes through which life adapts and evolves. The fish and insect collections demonstrate the incredible diversity of contemporary existence and the complex relationships between different forms of life. The art wing celebrates the highest aspirations of creative consciousness, showing how intelligence and sensitivity can transform raw materials into expressions of beauty and meaning. The educational programs that Blathers has developed for young visitors reflect his understanding that fostering curiosity and respect for learning in childhood creates lifelong lovers of knowledge who will continue exploring and discovering long after their formal education ends. His patience with questions, no matter how basic or repetitive, demonstrates genuine respect for the learning process and recognition that everyone begins their intellectual journey from a different starting point. The museum's research functions, while less visible to casual visitors, represent perhaps its most important contribution to the broader scientific community. The careful documentation and preservation work that occurs behind the scenes ensures that current discoveries will remain available for future researchers, while ongoing studies of the collected specimens continue to yield new insights about natural processes and historical developments. Blather's collaboration with field researchers and visiting scholars creates networks of knowledge sharing that extend far beyond any single community. His willingness to loan specimens for research purposes and to participate in collaborative studies demonstrates the kind of generous scholarly spirit that makes genuine scientific progress possible. The museum becomes not just a local resource, but a node in a larger network of institutions dedicated to advancing human understanding. The seasonal changes that occur in the museum's living collections mirror the natural cycles that govern life in the broader community, providing visitors with opportunities to observe and understand processes that might otherwise go unnoticed in their daily routines. The appearance and disappearance of different species throughout the year becomes a kind of natural calendar that connects human activities to the larger rhythms of the natural world. Celeste's nocturnal schedule, which aligns with her astronomical interests and allows her to observe celestial events that occur only during nighttime hours, creates opportunities for different types of visitors to engage with the museum's offerings. Her presence during evening hours serves communities that include residents whose own schedules make daytime visits difficult, ensuring that the museum's resources remain accessible to the broadest possible audience. The relationship between the owl siblings and their communities extends beyond their professional roles to encompass genuine personal connections with residents who share their interests or simply appreciate their dedication. Blather's willingness to engage in lengthy explanations of his latest discoveries, even when his audience might not fully grasp the technical details, reflects his belief that enthusiasm for knowledge is contagious and that exposure to genuine scholarly passion can inspire others to develop their own intellectual interests. The museum gift shop, while serving practical functions related to funding and community engagement, also represents an extension of the educational mission that drives both siblings. The carefully selected items available for purchase reflect the same attention to quality and educational value that characterizes the museum's displays, allowing visitors to take home objects that will continue inspiring learning and appreciation for natural beauty long after their visit ends. As night settles over the museum and Blathers concludes another day of cataloguing discoveries and sharing knowledge with eager visitors, while Celeste prepares for her evening observations of stellar phenomena, their combined efforts create a legacy that extends far beyond the specimens they preserve and the facts they share. They have built sanctuaries of wonder where curiosity is nurtured, where beauty and knowledge reinforce each other, and where the accumulated wisdom of ages remains accessible to anyone with the desire to learn and grow. In the quiet moments between visitors, when the museum's halls echo with nothing but the soft sounds of climate control systems maintaining optimal conditions for preservation, the owl siblings continue their patient work of building bridges between past and future, earth and sky, knowledge and wonder. Their dedication ensures that the stories told by ancient fossils and distant stars will continue inspiring new generations of learners, dreamers, and scholars who understand that the pursuit of knowledge is among the highest callings any conscious being can embrace. The museum stands as their monument, not to personal achievement, but to the collaborative enterprise of understanding that connects all seekers of truth across time and space, a testament to the power of curiosity and dedication to transform individual lives and entire communities through the patient accumulation and generous sharing of wisdom. In the deepest hours of Saturday night, when most of the community has settled into peaceful slumber, and the only sounds are the gentle whisper of wind through leaves, and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures going about their mysterious business, a lone figure takes his place in the town plaza or the corner of a cozy cafe. With his guitar cradled in practiced pause and his eyes closed in concentration that borders on meditation, KK, Slider transforms from a simple traveling musician into something approaching a conduit for the universal language that speaks directly to the soul without need for translation or interpretation. The story of KK Slider begins not with fame or recognition, but with the ancient understanding that music serves purposes far deeper than mere entertainment or artistic expression. From his earliest memories, the young dog who would eventually become known throughout the Animal Crossing world understood that melodies carry within them the power to heal wounded hearts, to bring communities together across the divisions that sometimes separate neighbors, and to provide comfort during the long nights when loneliness threatens to overwhelm the human spirit. His journey toward becoming the musical heart of every community he visits was neither planned nor pursued for personal gain. Rather, it emerged organically from his recognition that wherever people gather to build lives together, they inevitably create spaces that cry out for the kind of sonic seasoning that only live music can provide. His guitar became his constant companion, not because he sought to perform, but because he discovered that communities without music are like gardens without flowers, functional perhaps, but missing something essential to the human experience. The philosophical foundation underlying KK Slider's approach to music reflects his deep understanding that true artistry serves the audience rather than the artist. His willingness to take requests, to play whatever song might bring joy or comfort to his listeners regardless of his own preferences, demonstrates a level of selflessness that transforms performance from self-expression into service. He has learned that the most profound musical experiences occur when the performer becomes a transparent medium through which melodies can flow directly from the cosmic source of harmony into the hearts of those who need them most. This servant's attitude toward his craft has shaped every aspect of KK Slider's approach to performance and community engagement. He arrives in each new place without fanfare or advanced publicity, setting up his modest equipment in whatever space feels most conducive to intimate musical connection rather than demanding elaborate stages or sophisticated sound systems. His performances are announcements of availability rather than spectacles designed to impress, invitations for community members to gather and share in the kind of collective experience that only live music can create. The Saturday night concerts that have become KK Slider's signature represent far more than simple entertainment events. These weekly gatherings serve as informal town meetings where residents can catch up with neighbors they might not otherwise encounter in their daily routines, where new arrivals can begin forming the social connections that transform strangers into community members, and where the shared experience of listening to live music creates bonds that strengthen the entire social fabric. The ritual aspects of these concerts, the way residents automatically gather as evening approaches Saturday, the expectant silence that falls when KK begins tuning his guitar, the spontaneous applause that erupts after each song demonstrate how deeply embedded his performances have become in the rhythm of community life. These are not optional cultural events that people attend when convenient, but essential ceremonies that mark the passage of time and provide touchstones of continuity across changing seasons and evolving circumstances. KK Slider's repertoire encompasses an extraordinary range of musical styles and emotional territories, from the gentle folk melodies that soothe troubled hearts to the driving rock rhythms that energize community celebrations, from the sophisticated jazz arrangements that appeal to more musically educated listeners, to the simple pop songs that invite collective singing along. This versatility reflects not just technical competence, but deep empathy for the diverse emotional needs of his audiences. His ability to read a room and select exactly the right song for each moment demonstrates the kind of intuitive understanding that separates true musicians from mere technicians. Whether a community needs the comfort of familiar melodies during difficult times or the excitement of new arrangements to mark special occasions, KK Slider somehow always manages to provide exactly what his listeners require, often before they themselves realize what they need. The process by which he creates new songs, reflects his commitment to drawing inspiration from the communities he serves rather than from abstract artistic concepts. Many of his most beloved compositions began as simple observations about the daily lives of residents, transformed through his musical sensitivity into songs that capture the essence of shared experiences. A melody inspired by the sound of morning waves becomes a song about renewal and fresh starts. A rhythm that echoes the pattern of raindrops on rooftops becomes a composition about finding beauty in ordinary moments. The famous mystery surrounding KK, Slider's true identity, whether he performs under his given name or has adopted a stage persona for his musical career, adds an element of romantic intrigue that enhances rather than detracts from his artistic impact. This ambiguity allows listeners to focus entirely on the music itself, rather than being distracted by biographical details or celebrity mythology, creating space for more direct and personal connections between performer and audience. His evolution into DJ KK represents not an abandonment of his acoustic roots, but an expansion of his musical vocabulary to include the electronic sounds and rhythmic patterns that speak to younger generations and different cultural backgrounds. The same philosophical commitment to serving his audience that shaped his traditional performances continues to guide his exploration of contemporary musical technologies and trends. The seamless way KK Slider incorporates DJ equipment and electronic effects into his performances, demonstrates his understanding that musical authenticity comes not from adherence to specific instrumental traditions, but from genuine connection to the emotional needs of his listeners. Whether working with acoustic guitar or electronic synthesizers, his goal remains the same: creating sonic experiences that bring people together and provide the kind of transcendent moments that make ordinary Saturday nights feel magical. The influence of KK Slider's musical philosophy extends far beyond his own performances to inspire other musically inclined residents and visiting performers who witness his approach to community service through artistry. Young musicians who attend his concerts often report experiencing revelations about the true purpose of musical performance, understanding for the first time that technical skill and artistic creativity are most valuable when deployed in service of others' happiness and well-being. The informal mentoring that occurs during these musical gatherings has created networks of amateur musicians throughout the Animal Crossing world, residents who may never achieve KK Slider's level of skill or recognition, but who understand and embrace his example of using whatever musical abilities they possess to contribute to their community's cultural life. Living rooms become concert venues, front porches transform into performance spaces, and community gatherings automatically include musical elements because residents have learned to associate music with social connection. The seasonal variations in KK Slider's performances reflect his sensitivity to the natural rhythms that govern community life and his understanding that different times of year call for different types of musical medicine. Spring concerts often emphasize themes of renewal and growth, their melodies echoing the energy of plants emerging from winter dormancy and birds returning from distant migrations. Summer performances tend towards celebration and joy, their rhythms matching the longer days and the relaxed pace that warm weather brings to community activities. Autumn concerts carry hints of nostalgia and reflection, their harmonies colored by the bittersweet beauty of leaves changing color and the approaching end of another growing season. Winter performances provide comfort and warmth during the months when harsh weather keeps residents indoors more often, their melodies serving as sonic fireplaces around which communities can gather for mutual support and companionship. The recordings that KK Slider provides to audience members who request specific songs serve multiple functions beyond simple memorabilia or personal entertainment. These physical tokens of musical experiences allow residents to carry pieces of community gatherings into their private spaces, extending the social bonding effects of live performance into daily life. Playing a KK Slider recording while working in the garden or relaxing at home serves as a reminder of connections to neighbors and participation in something larger than individual concerns. The sharing of these recordings among friends and family members creates additional layers of community connection as residents discover they can bond over favorite songs or introduce others to musical experiences they particularly enjoyed. The recordings become conversation starters, relationship builders, and tools for deepening social connections that might otherwise remain superficial. The mystery of KK Slider's travel schedule and the unpredictability of his appearances in different communities adds an element of anticipation and special occasion to his performances that scheduled entertainment often lacks. Residents learn to treasure his visits precisely because they cannot be taken for granted, understanding that each concert represents a gift that should be fully appreciated rather than a routine service that will always be available. This scarcity creates a heightened appreciation for live musical experiences that extends beyond KK Slider's own performances to benefit other musicians and cultural events. Communities that have learned to value his contributions often become more supportive of all forms of artistic expression, understanding that cultural experiences require active participation and support rather than passive consumption. The impact of KK Slider's musical philosophy on community mental health and social cohesion represents perhaps his most important contribution to the Animal Crossing world. His concerts provide safe spaces where residents can experience the kind of emotional release and social connection that are essential for psychological well-being but often difficult to find in modern life. The shared experience of listening to live music creates temporary communities within communities, bringing together residents who might otherwise have little in common beyond their geographic proximity. The intergenerational appeal of his performances helps bridge gaps between older and younger residents, creating opportunities for different age groups to share cultural experiences and discover common ground. Children attending their first KK Slider concert often develop lifelong appreciation for live music, while older residents find in his performances echoes of musical traditions from their own youth, updated and refreshed for contemporary audiences. As the final notes of each Saturday night concert fade into the surrounding silence, and residents begin making their way home through streets still echoing with musical memories, KK Slider quietly packs his equipment and prepares for the next chapter of his eternal journey. His departure leaves communities changed in subtle but profound ways, enriched by the musical experiences they have shared and strengthened by the bonds that music always creates among those who listen together with open hearts. In the days that follow, residents find themselves humming melodies from the previous night's performance, sharing favorite moments with friends who were there, and looking forward to the next opportunity to gather around live music performed with love and genuine concern for audience well-being. KK Slider's influence ripples outward through community life like waves from a stone dropped in still water, touching aspects of daily existence that seem far removed from music but are actually enhanced by the social connections and emotional nourishment that his performances provide. His legacy lives not in recordings or critical acclaim, but in the strengthened communities he leaves behind. Places where residents understand a little more clearly that cultural experiences are essential nutrients for healthy social life, and where the sight of someone carrying a guitar or setting up for an impromptu performance automatically attracts audiences, eager to participate in the kind of musical magic that KK Slider has taught them to recognize and treasure. Across the endless expanse of azure seas that surround every Animal Crossing community, like protective embraces of liquid sapphire, there drift the souls of those called to wander, whose very existence depends upon the constant motion that carries them from shore to distant shore, bearing tales of far-off lands and treasures that speak of cultures beyond the familiar horizons of island life. These maritime wanderers serve as living bridges between isolated communities, their vessels cutting paths through ocean wilderness that connect separated peoples in ways that transcend the physical distances measured in nautical miles and compass headings. Among these eternal voyagers, none embodies the romantic spirit of oceanic adventure more completely than Gulliver, that absent-minded seagull whose frequent shipwrecks upon familiar shores have become as predictable as the changing of tides, yet whose stories of distant ports and foreign customs never fail to captivate those fortunate enough to encounter him during his periodic visits to recover from his latest maritime misadventure. His presence on the beach, usually discovered at dawn by early rising residents taking their morning walks along the shoreline, serves as a reminder that the wider world extends far beyond the boundaries of any single community, no matter how complete and self-sufficient that community might appear. Gulliver's perpetual state of confusion and memory loss, which might seem troubling in someone whose livelihood depends upon navigation and seamanship, actually adds a layer of charm and mystery to his character that makes each encounter feel fresh and unpredictable. His inability to remember precisely how he arrived at his current destination or exactly where he was attempting to travel creates opportunities for residents to participate in his adventures through the simple act of helping him piece together the fragments of his scattered recollections. The process of assisting Gulliver in recovering his lost communicator parts becomes a metaphor for the way communities must sometimes work together to help confused or disoriented visitors find their bearings and regain their sense of purpose. The patience required to search beaches for tiny electronic components mirrors the patience that genuine hospitality demands, while the satisfaction of successfully reuniting Gulliver with his crew reflects the joy that comes from providing meaningful assistance to those in need. The gifts that Gulliver sends to express his gratitude for these rescue efforts represent far more than simple tokens of appreciation. Each carefully selected item, from exotic furniture crafted in styles unknown to local artisans to clothing that reflects fashion traditions from distant cultures, serves as a tangible connection to the broader world beyond any individual island's shores. These objects become conversation pieces that spark discussions about diversity, craftsmanship, and the countless different ways that human creativity has found expression across various cultures and geographical locations. The transformation of Gulliver into Gulliver during certain visits adds layers of adventure and romance to his already colourful persona, suggesting that his maritime career has encompassed not just peaceful merchant voyages, but also the more dramatic pursuits associated with treasure hunting and high seas adventure. His pirate incarnation speaks to the enduring human fascination with stories of buried treasure and forgotten maps, of brave souls who sailed beyond the edges of known charts in search of legendary riches and undiscovered lands. Gulliver's requests for diving assistance transform routine beach encounters into underwater adventures that require residents to develop new skills and explore previously unfamiliar aspects of their marine environment. The search for his lost communicator parts beneath the waves becomes an excuse for residents to appreciate the beauty and complexity of ocean ecosystems while participating in the kind of adventure story that has captured human imagination since the first sailor looked across open water and wondered what lay beyond the horizon. The philosophical implications of Gulliver's chronic forgetfulness extend beyond simple comic relief to touch upon deeper questions about memory, identity, and the relationship between experience and recollection. His ability to continue functioning as a skilled sailor, despite his inability to retain specific memories, suggests that some forms of knowledge exist at levels deeper than conscious recollection, embedded in muscle memory and intuitive understanding that persist even when surface awareness fails. This pattern of forgetting and rediscovering creates a perpetual present tense for Gulliver that might be seen as either tragic limitation or enviable freedom from the burden of accumulated regrets and disappointments that often weigh down those whose memories remain intact. His cheerful acceptance of his condition and his continued enthusiasm for oceanic adventure suggests that happiness might sometimes depend more upon present moment engagement than upon comprehensive recollection of past experiences. The contrast between Gulliver's professional competence as a navigator and his personal confusion about immediate circumstances reflects the complex ways that expertise and vulnerability can coexist within the same individual. His ability to successfully pilot vessels across vast oceanic distances while simultaneously requiring assistance to remember basic information about his current situation demonstrates that human capability exists along multiple dimensions that do not always align in predictable patterns. Red, that cunning fox whose art-dealing enterprises occupy the moral territory between legitimate business and outright fraud, represents a different type of wandering merchant whose relationship with truth proves as fluid and changeable as the ocean currents that carry him from port to port. His arrival in any community, announced by the distinctive red tent that serves as his mobile gallery, creates excitement tempered by the wariness that comes from dealing with someone whose reputation for sharp practice precedes him like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. The art market that Red has created through his traveling exhibitions serves multiple functions within the Animal Crossing economy and culture, providing communities with access to masterpieces and curiosities that would otherwise remain forever beyond their reach, while simultaneously offering lessons in discernment and critical evaluation that prove valuable far beyond the realm of artistic appreciation. His willingness to sell both authentic masterpieces and clever forgeries side by side transforms each potential purchase into an educational exercise in observation and analysis. The challenge of distinguishing genuine articles from skilled reproductions becomes a metaphor for the broader life skill of learning to recognize authenticity in all its forms, whether in art, in relationships, or in the countless daily situations where appearances can deceive and surface impressions may not reflect deeper realities. The careful examination required to spot the subtle differences between authentic works and their forged counterparts develops visual acuity and attention to detail that serve purchasers well in many aspects of their daily lives. Red's complex moral position, neither purely villainous nor entirely trustworthy, reflects the nuanced reality of commerce in a world where perfect information is rarely available and every transaction involves some degree of risk and uncertainty. His business practices, while occasionally questionable, operate within acknowledged parameters that allow customers to make informed decisions about their level of risk tolerance and their confidence in their own judgment. The relationship between buyer and seller in Red's floating gallery creates opportunities for residents to practice negotiation skills and develop their ability to assess value independently rather than relying entirely upon external authorities or conventional wisdom. The potential for both triumph and disappointment in these transactions mirrors the broader experience of making important decisions based upon incomplete information and personal judgment rather than guaranteed outcomes. The educational value of Red's presence extends beyond individual transactions to encompass broader discussions about art history, cultural heritage, and the complex relationships between artistic creation, commercial distribution, and public appreciation. Even his forged items serve pedagogical purposes, demonstrating techniques and artistic traditions, while providing starting points for conversations about authenticity, reproduction, and the various ways that artistic value can be measured and appreciated. Pascal, that Zen-minded otter whose philosophical observations emerge from the depths along with the precious pearls he seeks, represents yet another approach to the wandering life that emphasizes contemplation and spiritual insight over material accumulation or geographical conquest. His appearances during diving expeditions transform routine searches for sea creatures into opportunities for deeper reflection about life's meaning and the wisdom that can be discovered through patient observation of natural processes. The pearls that Pascal collects serve as metaphors for the insights that can be found by those willing to dive beneath the surface of immediate experience to explore the deeper currents of existence. His willingness to trade these valuable objects for simple scallops demonstrates a value system that prioritizes experiences and relationships over material wealth, suggesting that true richness comes from appreciation rather than accumulation. Pascal's philosophical sayings, delivered with the casual profundity that comes from years of solitary contemplation, provide residents with perspectives that can transform routine activities into opportunities for growth and understanding. His observations about the ocean, about diving, about the relationship between searching and finding, carry implications that extend far beyond their immediate maritime context to encompass broader questions about purpose, satisfaction, and the art of living well. The timing of Pascal's appearances, always unexpected, yet somehow perfectly appropriate to the circumstances, suggests a level of intuitive awareness that allows him to provide exactly the kind of wisdom that residents need at particular moments in their development. His ability to appear just when someone requires a fresh perspective on their current challenges reflects the mysterious ways that guidance and support often manifest when they are most needed. The trading relationships that develop between residents and these various wandering characters create networks of exchange that extend far beyond simple economic transactions to encompass cultural sharing, educational experiences, and the kind of personal connections that transform strangers into friends despite the temporary nature of most encounters. These relationships demonstrate that meaningful connections can develop quickly when they are based upon mutual respect and genuine interest in others' well-being and experiences. The seasonal patterns that govern the appearances of traveling merchants and wandering adventurers reflect the natural rhythms that continue to influence human activity despite technological advances and cultural changes. The expectation of certain visitors during specific times of year creates anticipation and structure that enhance the experience of seasonal transition, while providing reliable touchstones of continuity across years of change and growth. The impact of these wandering souls extends beyond their direct interactions with residents to influence community culture and values in subtle but profound ways. Their stories of distant places and different customs encourage openness to diversity and change, while their willingness to help and be helped demonstrates the importance of mutual aid and hospitality in creating societies that support both individual flourishing and collective well-being. The departure of each wandering visitor leaves communities slightly changed, enriched by new objects and ideas, but also by the expanded sense of connection to the broader world that these encounters provide. Residents who have helped Gulliver recover from his shipwrecks carry with them increased confidence in their ability to assist others, while those who have successfully navigated Red's artistic offerings develop greater trust in their own judgment and evaluation skills. The memories created through these encounters become part of each community's shared narrative, stories that residents tell and retell as they reflect upon the various adventures and challenges that have shaped their collective experience. The wandering characters become legendary figures whose exploits grow more colorful and significant with each retelling, their impact on community life extending far beyond the duration of their actual visits. As evening settles over the ocean and the last traces of departed visitors disappear beyond the horizon, the communities they have touched settle into peaceful contemplation of the connections that bind all living beings together, despite the distances that seem to separate them. The treasures they have left behind serve as permanent reminders that isolation is ultimately an illusion, that every shore is connected to every other shore by the vast web of currents and tides that carry travelers, tales, and dreams across the endless expanses of the living sea. The wandering souls who navigate these waters represent the eternal human need for exploration and connection, their journeys creating pathways of understanding that allow isolated communities to participate in the larger story of conscious beings seeking meaning and companionship in a universe vast enough to contain all dreams yet intimate enough to allow every sincere effort at connection to find its appropriate destination. In the gentle rhythm of community life, where seasons flow into one another like chapters in a beloved story that never truly ends, there exists a figure whose dedication to public service has become as reliable and comforting as the sunrise itself, whose cheerful presence transforms the often mundane tasks of administration into expressions of care and devotion that touch every aspect of daily existence. Isabel, that golden-furred Shih Tzu whose enthusiasm for her work radiates like sunshine through even the most routine municipal responsibilities, represents the beating heart of civic engagement, the living embodiment of what government can become when it serves not just the letter of law but the spirit of community well-being. Her arrival in the Animal Crossing world marked a transformation in the very nature of public administration, bringing to municipal government a level of personal attention and genuine care that elevated bureaucratic processes from necessary evils into opportunities for meaningful connection between leaders and citizens. Before Isabel's appearance, the machinery of local government operated efficiently enough, but without the warmth and personality that makes residents feel truly seen and valued as individuals, rather than merely counted as statistics in population surveys and voting. Records. The morning routine that begins each of Isabel's working days reflects her deep understanding that effective public service requires not just competence in handling paperwork and managing schedules, but also genuine enthusiasm for the communities she serves. Her arrival at the town hall or resident services building marks the beginning of another day dedicated to making life better for everyone who calls her community home, her bright greeting and cheerful demeanor setting a tone of optimism and possibility that influences every subsequent interaction throughout the day. The daily announcements that have become Isabel's signature represent far more than simple information, dissemination, or bureaucratic obligation. Through these morning broadcasts, she transforms routine community updates into celebrations of shared life, finding ways to make even the most mundane civic information sound exciting and important. Her ability to generate genuine enthusiasm for topics ranging from construction projects to seasonal festivals demonstrates an approach to public communication that prioritizes community building over mere efficiency of information transfer. Her famous obsession with television programming, while seemingly trivial or unprofessional to those who misunderstand the deeper purposes of effective public service, actually reflects her commitment to finding common ground with the residents she serves. By sharing her personal interests and genuine reactions to popular culture, she creates opportunities for the kind of informal conversation that builds trust and mutual understanding between government officials and the citizens who depend upon their services. These moments of apparent frivolity serve crucial functions in building the social capital that makes democratic governance possible. When residents feel comfortable approaching their public officials to discuss television shows or share recommendations for entertainment, they develop the confidence and trust necessary to engage with more serious civic matters. Isabel's willingness to reveal her personality and interests creates an atmosphere of accessibility that encourages citizen participation in ways that more formal or distant approaches to public service cannot achieve. The seasonal enthusiasm that characterizes Isabel's approach to her administrative duties demonstrates her understanding that communities require more than efficient service delivery to thrive. They need shared experiences and collective celebrations that create bonds between neighbors and generate the kind of social cohesion that sustains healthy democratic life. Her excitement about upcoming festivals and seasonal events transforms these gatherings from optional entertainment into essential community rituals that strengthen social fabric and create lasting memories. Her meticulous attention to the details that make seasonal celebrations successful, from coordinating vendors for holiday markets to ensuring that seasonal decorations reflect community values and traditions, reveals an approach to public service that recognizes the profound importance of seemingly minor details in creating experiences that bring joy and meaning to residents' lives. The care she takes in planning these events reflects her understanding that government serves not just practical needs, but also the human need for beauty, celebration, and shared experiences that create lasting bonds between community members. The relationship between Isabel and the player character in her role as mayor or resident representative exemplifies the best possibilities for collaboration between public officials and civic leaders, demonstrating how effective governance emerges from partnership rather than hierarchy. Her willingness to support mayoral initiatives, while also providing honest feedback and alternative perspectives, creates a dynamic that strengthens decision-making processes and ensures that policies serve genuine community needs, rather than simply advancing political agendas. Her diplomatic skills, evident in her ability to communicate potentially controversial decisions in ways that minimize conflict while maintaining transparency, reflect sophisticated understanding of the delicate balance required to maintain social harmony while addressing legitimate differences of opinion within diverse communities. She has learned to present difficult information in contexts that emphasize shared values and common goals rather than highlighting divisions that might undermine community cohesion. The administrative efficiency that characterizes Isabel's work demonstrates that genuine care for others actually enhances rather than impedes professional competence. Her ability to process paperwork quickly and accurately while maintaining personal connections with residents proves that bureaucratic effectiveness and human warmth are not competing priorities, but complementary aspects of truly excellent public service. Her organizational systems, while perhaps invisible to most residents, create the foundation that allows more visible community services to operate smoothly and efficiently. The careful attention she pays to scheduling, record keeping, and coordination between different municipal departments ensures that residents encounter government services that work seamlessly rather than creating frustration and delay through poor communication or inadequate planning. The training and mentoring that Isabel provides to other municipal employees, while rarely seen by the general public, multiplies her positive impact on community life by creating a culture of service excellence that extends throughout local government operations. Her example teaches other workers that public service represents an opportunity to make meaningful contributions to others' well-being, rather than simply collecting paychecks for performing routine tasks. Her approach to conflict resolution, when disputes arise between residents or between citizens and local government, demonstrates sophisticated understanding of the principles that allow communities to address disagreements without destroying the relationships that hold them together. Rather than simply imposing solutions or dismissing concerns, she creates opportunities for dialogue and mutual understanding that often transform conflicts into opportunities for strengthened community bonds. The public events that Isabel organizes and oversees serve multiple functions beyond their immediate entertainment or educational value, creating opportunities for residents to encounter neighbors they might not otherwise meet, to participate in collective experiences that generate shared memories, and to develop the kind of social connections that make communities resilient in the face of challenges and changes. Her attention to accessibility and inclusion in planning these events reflects her commitment to ensuring that all community members can participate regardless of their economic circumstances, physical abilities, or cultural backgrounds. The care she takes to accommodate different needs and preferences demonstrates understanding that truly successful communities are those where everyone can find their place and contribute their unique gifts to the collective well-being. The correspondence that Isabel maintains with residents through various communication channels reflects her recognition that effective public service requires ongoing dialogue rather than periodic consultation. Her responsiveness to citizen concerns and suggestions creates feedback loops that allow local government to adapt and improve its services based on real community needs rather than assumptions or outdated practices. Her personal investment in individual residents' success and happiness, evident in her genuine excitement when community members achieve personal goals or overcome significant challenges, transforms routine administrative interactions into expressions of human connection and mutual support. This level of personal engagement creates loyalty and trust that strengthens the entire fabric of democratic governance. The balance that Isabel maintains between professional responsibilities and personal authenticity demonstrates that effective public service requires not the suppression of individual personality, but its thoughtful expression in service of community well-being. Her ability to remain genuinely herself while fulfilling demanding professional obligations creates a model for others who struggle with the tension between personal identity and public roles. Her resilience in facing the inevitable frustrations and setbacks that accompany any serious commitment to public service reflects emotional maturity and philosophical depth that sustain her through difficult periods without compromising. Her fundamental optimism and commitment to her community's well-being. She has learned that lasting change requires patience and persistence rather than dramatic gestures or unsustainable bursts of activity. The mentorship that Isabel provides to residents who are learning to navigate civic responsibilities and community leadership roles creates opportunities for democratic participation that might not otherwise exist. Her willingness to share knowledge and provide guidance helps develop the next generation of community leaders, while ensuring that current initiatives benefit from the widest possible range of perspectives and skills. Her collaborative approach to major community decisions reflects understanding that sustainable solutions to complex challenges require input from multiple stakeholders and perspectives rather than top-down mandates that may lack the broad support necessary for successful implementation. She has learned to facilitate processes that generate genuine consensus rather than mere compliance with official policies. The documentation and record-keeping that Isabel maintains for community activities and decisions creates institutional memory that allows future leaders to build upon past successes while learning from previous mistakes. Her attention to preserving the history of community initiatives ensures that valuable lessons and effective practices are not lost when leadership transitions occur. As each day concludes, and Isabel completes her final administrative tasks before closing the town hall or resident services building, her satisfaction comes not from personal recognition or career advancement, but from the knowledge that her work has contributed something meaningful to the lives of the people she serves. The reports she files and the plans she prepares for the next day reflect ongoing commitment to continuous improvement in service delivery and community support. Her evening reflections often focus not on her own accomplishments, but on the progress she has observed in her community, the new friendships that have formed through events she helped organize, the problems that have been solved through collaborative processes she facilitated, the small but significant improvements in quality of life that result from dedicated attention to community needs and aspirations. The legacy that Isabel creates through her approach to public service extends far beyond any specific policies or programs she has implemented to encompass a transformed understanding of what government can become when it operates with genuine love for the communities it serves. Her example demonstrates that bureaucracy need not be cold or impersonal, that efficiency and warmth can coexist, and that public service represents one of the highest forms of community contribution available to those called to serve others through institutional channels. In the quiet hours after the municipal building has closed and most residents have settled into their evening routines, Isabel's influence continues to ripple through community life in countless small but significant ways. The connections she has fostered between neighbors, the problems she has helped solve, the celebrations she has made possible, all continue to strengthen the social bonds that make healthy communities possible, while demonstrating that genuine care and professional competence are not competing values, but complementary aspects of service excellence that benefits everyone involved. In the gentle twilight of distinguished public service, when decades of dedicated leadership have earned the right to peaceful reflection and well-deserved rest, there emerges a figure whose transition from active governance to contemplative retirement represents not an ending but a transformation, a metamorphosis from direct community leadership into something approaching wisdom incarnate. Tortimer, that venerable turtle whose mayoral service spanned generations of residents and seasons beyond counting, embodies the profound truth that true leaders never truly retire but simply evolve their methods of service to match the changing needs of both themselves and the communities they continue to love with undiminished devotion. The long years of Tortimer's mayoral tenure created a foundation of institutional knowledge and community wisdom that transcends any individual policy decision or administrative achievement, establishing patterns of governance and civic engagement that continue to influence community life long after formal leadership has passed to younger hands. His approach to municipal administration, characterized by patient attention to long-term community well-being rather than short-term political advantage, created precedents and traditions that guide successive generations of local leaders facing similar challenges with different resources and changing circumstances. The philosophy underlying Tortimer's approach to public service reflected deep understanding that effective governance requires not just competent management of current affairs, but also careful cultivation of the social conditions that allow communities to thrive across generational transitions and economic changes. His policies and initiatives consistently emphasize sustainability over immediate gratification, investment in infrastructure and institutions over dramatic but temporary improvements, and the kind of steady progress that builds lasting prosperity rather than creating impressive but fragile achievements. His legendary longevity in office spoke not to political manipulation or lack of viable alternatives, but to genuine community satisfaction with leadership that prioritized collective well-being over personal advancement, that treated public service as sacred trust rather than career opportunity, and that consistently demonstrated the kind of integrity and competence that earns renewal through democratic processes rather than demanding it through institutional advantages or campaign expenditures. The transition from active mayoralty to peaceful retirement represented a conscious choice on Tortimer's part to step aside while still capable of effective leadership, recognizing that healthy, democratic institutions require regular renewal, and that even the most devoted public servants must eventually create opportunities for fresh perspectives and new approaches to emerge. His willingness to relinquish power voluntarily when he could have continued serving effectively for additional terms demonstrated the kind of selfless commitment to democratic principles that strengthens institutions while providing inspiring examples for future leaders. The island retreat where Tortimer now spends his retirement years serves multiple functions beyond simple personal relaxation and recreation, creating opportunities for continued contribution to community well-being, while allowing the kind of reflection and contemplation that transforms accumulated experience into accessible wisdom. His presence on these island getaways provides visiting residents with access to decades of leadership experience and institutional memory, while offering the retired mayor opportunities to remain connected to community life without interfering with current administrative processes. The activities that occupy Tortimer's retirement hours reflect his understanding that meaningful life continues long after formal career obligations end, that personal fulfillment in later years depends upon finding new ways to contribute value while exploring interests and relationships that active professional life may not have allowed adequate time to develop. His island adventures, fishing expeditions, and leisurely conversations with visitors demonstrate approaches to aging that emphasize continued growth and engagement rather than passive withdrawal from active participation in life's ongoing adventures. The wisdom that emerges from Tortimer's relaxed island conversations carries special weight precisely because it comes without the pressures and constraints that inevitably influence the words of active political leaders, allowing for more honest reflection on the challenges and rewards of public service, while providing insights that might not be appropriate or helpful when delivered by someone still actively seeking electoral support or managing current political relationships. His stories of past challenges and their eventual resolution provide current leaders with valuable perspective on the cyclical nature of community problems and the importance of maintaining long-term vision during periods of immediate crisis or controversy. The historical context he provides for current issues helps residents understand that today's difficulties are part of ongoing processes rather than unprecedented catastrophes, while his accounts of successful problem-solving demonstrate that patient persistence and collaborative effort can overcome obstacles that initially seem insurmountable. The network of specialist service providers that has developed throughout the Animal Crossing world represents another dimension of the wisdom and expertise that mature communities require to serve all aspects of residents' needs and aspirations, each professional bringing unique skills and perspectives that contribute to the comprehensive support systems that make thriving communities possible. These specialists, while perhaps less visible than the major merchants and administrators who occupy central community roles, provide essential services that enhance quality of life while demonstrating the importance of diverse expertise in creating environments where different types of people can find the resources they need to flourish. Harriet, whose salon services transform not just appearance but confidence and self-expression, understands that personal grooming represents far more than vanity or social conformity, serving as a means through which individuals can explore and express their identity while participating in the kind of self-care that supports both physical and emotional well-being. Her expertise in hairstyling and beauty treatments creates opportunities for residents to experiment with different aspects of their presentation while receiving the kind of personal attention that strengthens social bonds and builds community connections. The consultation process that precedes each styling session reflects Harriet's understanding that effective beauty services require genuine attention to individual preferences and lifestyle needs, rather than simple application of current trends or standardized techniques. Her willingness to listen carefully to clients' desires and concerns, while offering professional guidance based on years of experience, creates collaborative relationships that result in outcomes satisfying to both stylist and client, while building the trust necessary for ongoing professional relationships. Her salon serves functions beyond the immediate services it provides, creating a social space where residents can encounter neighbors in relaxed circumstances, share news and observations about community life, and participate in the kind of informal conversation that strengthens social networks while providing emotional support during difficult periods. The atmosphere of pampered relaxation that characterizes professional beauty services creates opportunities for stress, relief, and rejuvenation that benefit not just individual clients, but the broader community, by helping residents maintain the emotional equilibrium necessary for positive social engagement. Kix, that dedicated skunk whose shoe expertise reflects deep appreciation for the intersection between function and fashion in personal accessories, demonstrates how specialized knowledge can elevate mundane necessities into opportunities for creativity and self-expression, while ensuring that practical needs receive the attention they deserve from someone who understands the importance of proper fit and appropriate materials for different pop activities and circumstances. His comprehensive knowledge of footwear construction, materials, and styling allows residents to make informed decisions about purchases that will affect their daily comfort and mobility, while exploring fashion options that complement their personal style and lifestyle requirements. The consultation he provides goes beyond simple sales transactions to encompass education about proper care and maintenance of quality footwear, advice about selecting appropriate shoes for different activities, and guidance about building versatile wardrobes that serve multiple functions while reflecting individual taste and preferences. The seasonal rotation of inventory in Kix's shop reflects his understanding that different times of year require different types of footwear, while providing residents with regular opportunities to update and refresh their personal collections in response to changing weather conditions and evolving style preferences. His ability to anticipate community needs and stock appropriate merchandise demonstrates the kind of business acumen that serves customer interests while maintaining sustainable operations that can continue providing valuable services across multiple seasons and years. Leif, whose dedication to gardening and plant cultivation serves the community's needs for natural beauty and agricultural productivity, represents the crucial connection between human settlements and the natural world that sustains them, providing expertise and materials that allow residents to create personal gardens while participating in broader environmental stewardship that benefits the entire ecosystem surrounding their community. His knowledge of plant varieties, growing conditions, and seasonal care requirements enables residents to make informed choices about landscaping and gardening projects that will provide long-term satisfaction while supporting local biodiversity and environmental health. The guidance he offers extends beyond simple sales transactions to include education about sustainable gardening practices, advice about creating habitats that support beneficial wildlife, and suggestions for developing personal growing skills that enhance both individual satisfaction and community food security. The seasonal focus of Leif's offerings reflects natural cycles that govern plant growth and development, while providing residents with regular reminders of their connection to environmental processes that extend far beyond human, social, and economic activities. His presence in the community creates opportunities for residents to engage with natural systems in direct and meaningful ways, while developing skills and knowledge that increase appreciation for the complex relationships between human communities and the ecosystems that support them. The various seasonal and special event coordinators who appear throughout the Animal Crossing calendar represent additional dimensions of specialized expertise that enrich community life by providing access to traditions and experiences that might otherwise be unavailable to residents of smaller or more isolated communities. These visiting specialists bring with them knowledge of cultural practices and celebratory traditions from different regions and backgrounds, creating opportunities for residents to participate in diverse forms of cultural expression while learning about traditions that extend beyond their immediate community's usual practices. The holiday specialists, who organize seasonal festivals and celebrations, understand that these events serve crucial functions in community life, beyond mere entertainment, providing shared experiences that create lasting memories, while reinforcing social bonds and cultural values that help communities maintain their identity across generational transitions and population changes. Their expertise in event planning and cultural education ensures that celebrations achieve their intended purposes of bringing people together while honoring traditions that connect current residents to broader historical and cultural contexts. The expertise represented by these various specialists demonstrates the importance of diverse skills and knowledge in creating communities that can serve all aspects of human needs and aspirations, from basic practical requirements to higher-level desires for beauty, creativity, and cultural enrichment. Their presence in Animal Crossing communities reflects understanding that truly successful settlements require more than efficient provision of essential services, needing also the kind of specialized knowledge that makes life rich and satisfying, rather than merely sustainable. The intergenerational transfer of knowledge that occurs when experienced specialists mentor younger workers or share their expertise with interested residents creates ongoing processes of skill development and cultural preservation that ensure valuable knowledge and techniques continue to be available as communities evolve and change. This transfer process benefits not only direct recipients of training, but entire communities that gain access to preserved and enhanced expertise across multiple generations of practitioners. The collaborative relationships that develop between different specialists create networks of mutual support and knowledge sharing that enhance the overall level of service available to community residents, while demonstrating the benefits of professional cooperation over competitive isolation. These relationships often result in innovative solutions to community challenges that no single specialist could develop independently, while providing professional development opportunities that keep individual practitioners engaged and growing throughout their careers. As twilight settles over communities enriched by decades of accumulated expertise, and guided by the wisdom of elders who have learned to balance active engagement with peaceful reflection, the legacy of specialists and experienced leaders continues to influence daily life in ways both visible and subtle. The infrastructure they have built, the traditions they have established, and the knowledge they have preserved create foundations upon which current and future residents can build their own contributions to community well-being while honoring the sacrifices and achievements of those who came before. The quiet satisfaction that characterizes retirement communities, where former leaders and specialists share their wisdom with younger generations, demonstrates that meaningful life continues far beyond formal career achievement, that accumulated experience becomes increasingly valuable when shared generously with others, and that the transition from active leadership to elder guidance represents not an ending, but a transformation into different, but equally important forms of community service. In the shadowed corners of community life, where the familiar rhythms of daily routine give way to encounters that seem to emerge from folklore and fairy tale, there dwell the mysterious figures whose presence adds layers of enchantment and wonder to what might otherwise become merely predictable patterns of work and social interaction. These are the beings who remind residents that their world contains depths and possibilities that extend far beyond the comfortable boundaries of conventional understanding, whose very existence suggests that magic and mystery continue to weave themselves through the fabric of everyday life for those who remain open to experiences that transcend ordinary expectation. Among these enigmatic presences, none has left a more lasting impact on the economic and social structures of Animal Crossing communities than Joan, that ancient boar whose Sunday morning visits transformed humble root vegetables into the foundation of complex trading networks that span entire archipelagos and create connections between communities that might otherwise remain isolated from one another. Her legacy represents far more than simple agricultural commerce, encompassing lessons about risk and reward, community cooperation, and the mysterious ways that seemingly mundane activities can evolve into sophisticated systems that support both individual prosperity and collective well-being. Joan's origins as a turnip vendor trace back to agricultural traditions so ancient that their beginnings have become lost in the mists of time. When farming communities first discovered that certain hardy root vegetables could survive harsh weather conditions while providing both nutritional sustenance and economic opportunity for those willing to invest in their cultivation and distribution. Her family's dedication to this specialized form of commerce spans generations of Sunday mornings, each week bringing fresh opportunities for residents to participate in a form of economic activity that combines elements of farming, trading, and careful speculation about future market conditions. The turnip market that Joan established through decades of consistent service represents one of the most sophisticated examples of community-based economics in the entire Animal Crossing world, creating a system where individual investment decisions aggregate into broader patterns of prosperity that benefit entire communities while providing valuable lessons about the relationships between risk, patience, and reward. Her weekly visits became anchors of routine that residents could depend upon while participating in economic activities that introduced controlled elements of uncertainty and excitement into their otherwise predictable financial lives. The wisdom embedded in Joan's approach to turnip trading reflects deep understanding of agricultural cycles, market psychology, and the importance of building long-term relationships with customers who might make purchasing decisions based on factors beyond simple profit maximization. Her pricing strategies, delivery schedules, and customer interactions all demonstrate sophisticated appreciation for the complex factors that influence successful commerce in communities, where social relationships and economic transactions inevitably intertwine in ways that affect both individual prosperity and collective harmony. The generational transition that brought Daisy May into the family business represents more than simple succession planning, embodying broader themes about how traditional knowledge passes from experienced practitioners to younger generations, while adapting to changing circumstances and evolving community needs. The young boar's inheritance of her grandmother's trade encompasses not just practical skills related to cultivation, pricing, and customer service, but also the deeper wisdom about community relationships and economic responsibility that makes turnip trading a form of public service rather than mere profit-seeking activity. Daisy May's approach to continuing her grandmother's legacy demonstrates understanding that successful traditions must evolve to remain relevant while maintaining the essential characteristics that made them valuable to previous generations. Her innovations in distribution methods, pricing strategies, and customer engagement reflect changing community demographics and preferences, while honoring the fundamental principles that made Jones turnip trading such an important part of community economic life. The educational value of turnip trading extends far beyond immediate economic benefits to encompass valuable lessons about market dynamics, risk assessment, and the importance of diversification in investment strategies. Residents who participate in these weekly transactions develop practical understanding of economic principles that serve them well in other aspects of their financial lives, while learning to balance careful analysis with willingness to accept uncertainty as an inevitable component of any investment decision. The social aspects of turnip trading create opportunities for residents to engage with neighbors and visitors in contexts that combine economic activity with community building, transforming routine commercial transactions into occasions for sharing information, developing relationships, and participating in the kind of collaborative problem-solving that strengthens social bonds while supporting individual prosperity. The turnip market becomes a weekly gathering place where residents encounter others they might not otherwise meet while participating in economic activities that demonstrate the benefits of cooperation over pure competition. Mr. Rossetti, that passionate mole whose underground domain provides him with unique perspectives on the importance of persistence and careful attention to detail, represents a different type of mysterious presence whose influence on community life operates through direct intervention rather than regular commerce or social interaction. His dedication to ensuring that residents maintain proper saving habits reflects deep understanding that individual behavioral patterns have consequences extending far beyond immediate personal convenience, affecting community stability and long-term prosperity in ways that might not be immediately apparent to those focused primarily on short-term satisfaction. The tunnels and underground chambers that serve as Mr. Rossetti's operational base create a hidden infrastructure that supports community life, while remaining largely invisible to most residents, demonstrating the importance of behind-the-scenes work that ensures essential systems continue functioning properly, even when their maintenance requires considerable effort and receives little recognition. His willingness to emerge from comfortable underground quarters to address what others might consider minor infractions demonstrates commitment to community well-being that transcends personal convenience or popularity concerns. The philosophical foundation underlying Mr. Rossetti's approach to behavioral modification reflects understanding that healthy communities depend upon individual responsibility and that seemingly small actions can have cumulative effects that influence broader social and economic patterns. His sometimes stern interventions serve educational purposes that benefit not just immediate targets but entire communities by reinforcing cultural values related to responsibility, persistence, and respect for collective resources and institutions. The tough love approach that characterizes Mr. Rossetti's interactions with residents demonstrates sophisticated understanding of educational psychology and the importance of providing feedback that encourages improved behavior while maintaining the kind of supportive relationships that make learning possible. His willingness to be temporarily unpopular in service of long-term community benefit reflects the kind of principled leadership that strengthens social institutions while helping individuals develop habits that serve both personal and collective interests. Wisp, that gentle ghost whose nocturnal wanderings bring him into contact with residents during their evening activities, represents yet another dimension of mystery and wonder that enriches community life by demonstrating that the boundaries between the ordinary and extraordinary remain more permeable than conventional thinking might suggest. His benevolent presence provides reassurance that not all supernatural encounters need be frightening or dangerous, while his willingness to engage in helpful exchanges demonstrates that beings from other realms can contribute positively to community well-being. When approached with openness and respect, the spirit pieces that Wisp occasionally loses during his ethereal travels create opportunities for residents to participate in gentle adventures that combine elements of mystery and service, while providing rewards that demonstrate the benefits of helping others regardless of their apparent differences from conventional community members. These encounters teach valuable lessons about the importance of assisting those in need, while expanding understanding about the diverse forms that consciousness and community participation can take. The timing of Wisp's appearances, usually occurring during quiet evening hours, when most residents have completed their daily activities and might be receptive to encounters that require contemplation rather than immediate action, reflects understanding that meaningful connections often develop during moments of reflection and openness, rather than periods of intense activity or distraction. His gentle approach to requesting assistance demonstrates respect for residents' autonomy while creating opportunities for voluntary participation in activities that benefit both parties. The rewards that Wisp offers in exchange for assistance with recovering his scattered spirit pieces reflect appreciation for the time and effort required to help others, while providing tangible benefits that enhance participants' daily lives in practical ways. These exchanges demonstrate that altruistic behavior often creates unexpected benefits for those who engage in it, while reinforcing cultural values related to mutual aid and community cooperation. The various seasonal and occasional mysterious visitors who appear throughout the Animal Crossing calendar add additional layers of wonder and unpredictability to community life, creating anticipation and excitement, while demonstrating that routine can coexist with surprise in ways that enhance rather than disrupt social stability. These encounters provide residents with stories to share and memories to treasure, while expanding their understanding of the diverse possibilities that exist within their apparently familiar world. The folklore and legends that develop around these mysterious figures create shared cultural narratives that bind communities together, while providing frameworks for understanding experiences that might otherwise seem confusing or threatening. The stories that residents tell about their encounters with supernatural beings become part of community identity, while serving educational purposes that help others prepare for similar experiences. The balance between mystery and comfort that characterizes these supernatural encounters demonstrates sophisticated understanding of community psychology and the importance of providing residents with experiences that stretch their understanding without creating anxiety or fear that might undermine social cohesion. The mysterious figures who visit Animal Crossing communities manage to be intriguing without being threatening, unusual without being alienating. The seasonal patterns that govern many of these mysterious appearances reflect natural rhythms that connect supernatural experiences to broader cycles of change and renewal, suggesting that mystery and wonder are integral parts of healthy community life, rather than disruptions to normal social patterns. These regular encounters with the extraordinary help residents maintain openness to new experiences while providing reliable touchstones of wonder that enrich their understanding of their world's possibilities. The educational value of these mysterious encounters extends beyond immediate entertainment or material rewards to encompass broader lessons about tolerance, curiosity, and the importance of maintaining openness to experiences that challenge conventional understanding while contributing positively to community life. Residents who learn to engage constructively with mysterious visitors develop social skills and perspectives that serve them well in many aspects of their lives, while contributing to community cultures that welcome diversity and change. The legacy of these mysterious figures lives on in the stories that residents share, the traditions that develop around their visits, and the attitudes of openness and wonder that their presence encourages in community members who learn to appreciate the extraordinary elements that exist within apparently ordinary life. Their influence extends far beyond their direct interactions to shape community cultures that remain receptive to new experiences while honoring the wisdom embedded in traditional practices and relationships. As darkness settles over communities enriched by encounters with beings whose existence spans the boundary between the mundane and magical, residents carry with them expanded understanding of their world's depths and possibilities, while the mysterious figures who have shared their gifts and stories continue their eternal journeys through realms both visible and hidden, leaving behind communities that understand themselves to be part of something larger and more wonderful than they might have imagined possible. In the gentle evolution that marks the passage of time through communities that honor their past while embracing the possibilities of an ever-changing future, there emerge new faces whose presence reflects not abandonment of cherished traditions, but their thoughtful adaptation to contemporary needs and circumstances. These are the guardians of modern sensibilities who understand that lasting communities must grow and change while maintaining the essential values that made them worth preserving in the first place, bringing fresh perspectives and innovative approaches that complement rather than replace the wisdom of established practices and relationships. The arrival of these contemporary figures in the Animal Crossing world represents not revolution, but natural progression, the kind of organic development that occurs when healthy communities remain open to new influences while staying true to their foundational commitments to kindness, cooperation, and mutual support. Their contributions expand the range of services and experiences available to residents, while demonstrating that tradition and innovation can coexist in ways that strengthen rather than weaken the social bonds that hold communities together across generations of change and growth. Flick, whose passionate dedication to insect study and artistic expression transforms what might otherwise be simple pest control into opportunities for scientific discovery and creative achievement, embodies the contemporary approach to specialized knowledge that combines traditional expertise with modern presentation methods and broader educational goals. His enthusiasm for entomology reflects deep appreciation for the complexity and beauty of creatures that others might dismiss as nuisances, while his artistic sensibilities transform scientific observation into creative expression that makes natural history accessible and engaging for audiences who might not otherwise develop interest in such subjects. The commissions that Flick creates for residents who bring him specimens demonstrate understanding that art serves multiple functions beyond mere decoration, providing educational opportunities while creating lasting monuments to successful collecting efforts and environmental awareness. His sculptures and models capture the intricate beauty of insect anatomy and behavior, while serving as conversation pieces that encourage continued observation and appreciation of the natural world that surrounds every community. His approach to pricing and commission work reflects modern business practices that balance artistic integrity with accessibility, ensuring that his services remain available to residents regardless of their economic circumstances, while maintaining the kind of professional standards that allow him to continue developing his skills and expanding his artistic vision. The flexibility he demonstrates in working with different types of specimens and various artistic requests shows adaptation to community needs, while maintaining focus on educational and aesthetic goals that benefit both individual clients and broader community culture. The seasonal variations in Flick's interests and availability reflect natural patterns that govern insect populations while providing residents with regular opportunities to engage with different aspects of entomological study. Throughout the year, his expertise helps residents understand the complex relationships between insect life cycles, weather patterns, and ecosystem health, while creating incentives for careful observation and environmental stewardship that benefit entire communities. CJ, whose competitive enthusiasm for fishing combines traditional angling skills with modern tournament organization and media presentation, represents the contemporary approach to recreational activities that transforms solitary hobbies into community events while maintaining respect for the natural resources that make such activities possible. His tournaments create opportunities for residents to test their skills against neighbors, while participating in events that strengthen social bonds through shared challenges and collective achievements. The educational components that CJ incorporates into his fishing events demonstrate understanding that recreational activities serve their highest purposes when they contribute to broader learning and environmental awareness rather than simply providing entertainment or opportunities for competition. His knowledge of fish habitats, seasonal patterns, and sustainable fishing practices helps participants develop deeper appreciation for aquatic ecosystems, while enjoying recreational activities that connect them to natural processes, often overlooked in modern life. His approach to organizing tournaments reflects modern understanding of event management and community engagement, creating inclusive experiences that accommodate different skill levels and interests, while maintaining competitive elements that provide excitement and motivation for improvement. The prizes and recognition he provides celebrate achievement while encouraging continued participation in activities that benefit both individual participants and community culture. The documentation and record keeping that characterize CJ's tournaments create ongoing narratives of community achievement while providing historical context that helps residents understand their progress and development over time. These records become part of community memory, while inspiring future participation in activities that connect residents to each other and to the natural environment that supports their shared life. Harvey, whose dedication to photography and creative expression transforms his island retreat into a space where residents can explore artistic possibilities while documenting important moments and relationships in their lives, represents the contemporary understanding that creative activities serve essential functions in healthy communities by providing outlets for self-expression while creating lasting records of shared experiences and individual achievement. The photoshoot services that Harvey provides create opportunities for residents to celebrate friendships, document special occasions, and explore creative self-expression in contexts that might not otherwise be available in smaller communities. His technical expertise and artistic vision help residents create professional quality images while learning about composition, lighting, and other aspects of visual storytelling that enhance their ability to document and share their experiences. His island facility demonstrates modern approaches to creative workspace design that balance functionality with inspiration, creating environments where artistic activities can flourish while providing the technical resources necessary for high-quality results. The various props, backgrounds, and lighting options he maintains allow for diverse creative projects while accommodating different aesthetic preferences and artistic goals. The collaborative nature of Harvey's photography sessions reflects understanding that the best creative work often emerges from partnerships between artist and subject, with technical expertise combining with personal vision to create results that neither party could achieve independently. His willingness to work with residents' ideas while contributing professional guidance creates educational experiences that help participants develop their own artistic sensibilities while producing satisfying final products. Orville and Wilbur, those dedicated Dodo brothers whose airport services connect isolated communities to broader networks of trade, travel, and cultural exchange, embody the contemporary understanding that healthy communities require connection to the outside world while maintaining their unique identities and values. Their professional competence and cheerful service create reliable infrastructure that supports both essential travel and recreational exploration, while demonstrating that transportation services can be provided with warmth and personality rather than impersonal efficiency alone. The airport facility they manage serves functions beyond simple transportation, creating gathering spaces where residents can encounter visitors from other communities while participating in the kind of cultural exchange that broadens perspectives and strengthens appreciation for both local traditions and global diversity. Their customer service approach transforms potentially stressful travel experiences into pleasant social interactions while maintaining the kind of professional standards that ensure safe and reliable transportation services. Orville's dedication to customer service excellence demonstrates understanding that transportation services affect community quality of life in ways that extend far beyond simple logistical efficiency, influencing residents' ability to maintain relationships with friends and family in distant locations while accessing opportunities for education, commerce, and cultural enrichment that might not be available locally. His attention to detail and genuine concern for passenger satisfaction create positive associations with travel that encourage continued exploration and connection. Wilbur's piloting expertise and technical competence ensure that transportation services meet the highest safety standards while providing passengers with comfortable and enjoyable travel experiences. His knowledge of weather patterns, flight safety, and aircraft maintenance creates reliable service that residents can depend upon for both routine travel and emergency situations, while maintaining the kind of professional excellence that builds trust and confidence in essential community. Infrastructure. The various seasonal and special event coordinators who have joined the Animal Crossing community in recent years bring contemporary approaches to celebration and cultural programming that expand opportunities for residents to participate in diverse traditions while learning about different cultures and practices that enrich community life through exposure to broader human experiences and achievements. These newer specialists demonstrate understanding that successful communities require regular infusions of fresh ideas and perspectives, while maintaining respect for established traditions and values that provide stability and continuity across generations of residents. Their programming balances innovation with tradition, while creating inclusive experiences that welcome participation regardless of background or previous experience with particular cultural practices. The educational components that characterize many contemporary special events reflect modern approaches to cultural programming that prioritize learning and understanding over mere entertainment, creating opportunities for residents to develop knowledge and skills while participating in enjoyable activities that strengthen social bonds and cultural appreciation. These events become vehicles for both individual growth and community development, while honoring the diverse traditions that contribute to human cultural heritage. The technological integration that appears in various contemporary services reflects thoughtful adoption of modern tools and methods that enhance traditional activities without replacing their essential human elements. The balance these newer figures maintain between technological efficiency and personal connection demonstrates understanding that communities benefit from contemporary innovations when they serve human needs rather than replacing human relationships. The sustainability practices that many contemporary specialists incorporate into their services reflect modern environmental awareness and responsibility, while demonstrating that economic activities can support both community prosperity and ecological health when planned and implemented with appropriate attention to long-term consequences and resource conservation. These practices become educational opportunities that help residents understand their connections to broader environmental systems while participating in activities that model responsible resource use. The collaborative relationships that develop between newer and established community figures create networks of mutual support and knowledge sharing that benefit entire communities while demonstrating that generational change can occur through partnership rather than replacement. These relationships model healthy approaches to social and cultural evolution while maintaining the stability and continuity that healthy communities require. The documentation and communication methods that contemporary specialists employ reflect modern understanding of information management and community engagement, while maintaining the personal touch and individual attention that characterize the best traditional service approaches. Their use of contemporary tools enhances rather than replaces human connection, while creating more efficient and accessible services that benefit broader ranges of residents. As communities continue evolving to meet changing needs and circumstances, while honoring the values and traditions that define their essential character, the contemporary guardians who have joined established networks of service and support demonstrate that healthy growth requires both innovation and continuity, both openness to change and commitment to enduring principles that transcend particular historical moments or technological capabilities. The legacy that these newer figures create through their dedicated service and thoughtful integration of contemporary approaches with traditional values provides foundation for continued community development that honors the past while preparing for futures that cannot be predicted but can be, approached with confidence when built upon solid foundations of mutual support, creative problem-solving, and genuine commitment to collective well-being over individual advantage or temporary convenience. Their contributions become part of the ongoing story of communities that understand themselves to be part of larger networks of relationship and responsibility that extend across time and space while remaining grounded in the daily practices of kindness, cooperation, and creative service that transform individual lives while strengthening the social bonds that make healthy communities possible across all the changes that time inevitably brings. In the grand tapestry of community life, where individual threads of experience weave together to create patterns of meaning that transcend any single story or relationship, the special characters who populate the Animal Crossing world reveal themselves to be more than mere providers of services or sources of entertainment, transforming instead into living embodiments of the interconnected web of relationships and mutual dependencies that make genuine community possible. Their collective presence creates a symphony of human connection, where each voice contributes its unique melody, while harmonizing with all the others to produce something far more beautiful and meaningful than any individual performance could achieve alone. The profound interconnectedness that binds these diverse figures together reflects the deeper truth that healthy communities emerge not from the accumulation of independent services or the proximity of separate individuals, but from the countless ways that different forms of expertise, personality, and dedication create mutual support networks that strengthen with each additional connection. Tom Nook's patient mentoring creates the stable foundation upon which the Able sisters can build their creative enterprises, while their traditional craftsmanship provides the cultural continuity that gives meaning to Isabel's administrative innovations and seasonal celebrations. The museum that Blathers and Celeste maintain with such scholarly devotion serves not just as a repository of knowledge and beauty, but as a gathering place where residents encounter neighbors while exploring shared interests in natural, history, and celestial wonder, creating opportunities for conversation and connection that might never arise through routine daily interactions. The concerts that KK Slider provides transform these individual encounters into collective experiences that bind temporary audiences into lasting communities through the shared memories and emotional resonances that only live music can create. The traveling merchants and mysterious visitors who appear throughout the seasonal cycle bring not just goods and services, but stories and perspectives that connect isolated communities to broader networks of cultural and economic exchange, demonstrating that even the most self-sufficient settlements remain part of larger webs of relationship that extend across oceanic distances and generational boundaries. Their presence reminds residents that their local community, however complete it might seem, represents one node in a vast network of interconnected places where similar patterns of cooperation and mutual support create the conditions that allow human flourishing to occur. The seasonal rhythms that govern many of these relationships reflect the deeper wisdom that sustainable communities must align themselves with natural cycles rather than attempting to impose artificial patterns that ignore the environmental and emotional needs that shape human experience across the changing year. The spring energy that brings renewed focus on growth and possibility finds expression in the gardening activities that Leif supports, the construction projects that Tom Nook facilitates, and the fresh optimism that characterizes Isabel's approach to community planning and celebration. Summer's abundance creates opportunities for the kind of leisure and exploration that KK Slider's concerts celebrate, the fishing tournaments that CJ organizes, and the photographic adventures that Harvey's Island Retreat makes possible, while autumn's reflective mood supports the museum visits that Blathers encourages, the artistic projects that Flick creates from collected specimens, and the preparation activities that help communities prepare for winter's challenges through collective effort and mutual support. Winter's contemplative quiet provides space for the deeper conversations and cultural activities that strengthen social bonds during seasons when outdoor activities become less practical, creating opportunities for residents to appreciate the accumulated wisdom that figures like Tortimer represent while participating in the indoor activities and celebrations that demonstrate community resilience and creativity in the face of natural constraints that affect everyone equally. The philosophy of slow living that permeates every aspect of Animal Crossing community life reflects understanding that genuine satisfaction and lasting happiness emerge not from the frantic pursuit of constantly changing goals, but from patient appreciation of recurring experiences and deepening relationships that improve with time and attention, rather than requiring novelty or intensity to maintain their appeal. The daily routines that might seem repetitive or mundane to outside observers become opportunities for meditation and gradual mastery when approached with appropriate attention and appreciation. The morning ritual of checking in with Tom Nook or Isabel creates structure and continuity that anchor each day while providing opportunities to assess progress and plan activities that contribute to both individual satisfaction and community well-being. The evening conversations with neighbors and the weekly concerts that mark the passage of time create rhythms of social connection that prevent isolation while building the kind of accumulated shared experience that transforms groups of individuals into genuine communities with their own unique culture and identity. The economic activities that these characters facilitate demonstrate that commerce and creativity can serve community building rather than merely individual accumulation when they operate within frameworks that prioritize long-term relationships over short-term profits and mutual benefit over competitive advantage. The turnip trading that Joan established and Daisy May continues creates weekly opportunities for residents to engage with neighbors while participating in economic activities that combine elements of agriculture, speculation, and social interaction in ways that strengthen rather than strain community bonds. The artistic and educational services that figures like Blathers, Harvey, and the various seasonal specialists provide demonstrate that communities require more than basic necessities to truly flourish, needing also opportunities for creative expression, intellectual growth, and cultural enrichment that help residents develop their individual talents while contributing to collective cultural life that benefits everyone through its mere existence and availability. The balance between individual achievement and collective well-being that characterizes healthy Animal Crossing communities reflects sophisticated understanding of human nature and social dynamics, recognizing that people need opportunities for personal accomplishment and recognition, while also requiring the security and support that come from being part of something larger than themselves. The various competitions and achievement systems that different characters facilitate create opportunities for individual distinction while maintaining emphasis on participation and improvement rather than exclusionary success that leaves others feeling diminished or excluded. The therapeutic dimensions of Animal Crossing community life become apparent through extended observation of the ways that routine interactions with these consistently kind and supportive characters provide emotional regulation and stress, relief that support mental health and social functioning in ways that more dramatic or intense activities often cannot match. The predictable availability of patient guidance from Tom Nook, cheerful enthusiasm from Isabelle, and gentle wisdom from figures like Pascal creates emotional safety nets that allow residents to take risks and face challenges, while knowing that support and understanding will always be available when needed. The intergenerational aspects of these communities, reflected in the relationships between established figures like Tortimer and newer arrivals like the contemporary specialists, demonstrate that healthy societies require both continuity and change, both respect for accumulated wisdom and openness to fresh perspectives and innovative approaches that address changing circumstances and evolving needs. The mentorship relationships that develop naturally between experienced and newer community members create opportunities for knowledge transfer while ensuring that valuable traditions adapt rather than disappear as communities grow and change. The environmental consciousness that emerges naturally from extended engagement with these characters and their activities reflects understanding that human communities exist within larger ecological systems that require care and attention to remain healthy and productive across generations of use and development. The gardening activities, fishing practices, and seasonal observances that different characters encourage help residents develop practical understanding of their connections to natural systems, while building appreciation for the beauty and complexity of the environmental processes that support all life. The conflict resolution mechanisms that operate within these communities, while rarely dramatic or confrontational, demonstrate sophisticated approaches to managing the inevitable disagreements and misunderstandings that arise when diverse individuals attempt to live and work together in close proximity. The patient mediation that Isabel provides, the gentle guidance that Tom Nook offers, and the inclusive approaches that characterize most community activities create frameworks for addressing problems through communication and compromise, rather than competition and exclusion. The cultural preservation and innovation that occur through the various artistic and educational activities these characters support demonstrate that healthy traditions must remain living and adaptable, rather than becoming rigid museums of past practices that no longer serve contemporary needs. The way established figures like the Able sisters incorporate new techniques and perspectives while maintaining their essential commitment to quality craftsmanship shows how communities can honor their history while embracing beneficial changes that serve evolving needs and preferences. As the great wheel of seasons continues its eternal turning and the communities these characters serve continue growing and changing while maintaining their essential character, the network of relationships and mutual support they have created demonstrates that the highest human achievements emerge not from individual brilliance or competitive success, but from the patient collaborative work of many different people contributing their unique gifts to collective enterprises that benefit everyone involved while creating legacies that extend far beyond any individual lifetime or particular historical moment. The wisdom embedded in their daily practices and seasonal celebrations, their approaches to commerce and creativity, their methods of education and entertainment, becomes part of the living tradition that residents carry forward into their own relationships and activities, ensuring that the values and practices that make genuine community possible continue to find expression in new forms and contexts, while maintaining their essential focus on mutual support, creative collaboration, and the patient cultivation of the conditions that allow all members of the community to flourish according to their unique gifts and circumstances. In the quiet moments between activities, when the business of daily life gives way to contemplation and appreciation, residents of these communities often discover that their greatest treasure lies not in any particular possession or achievement, but in their participation in this web of relationships and mutual care that transforms ordinary life into something approaching the sacred through its consistent attention to kindness, beauty, and the countless small acts of service that demonstrate love in its most practical and sustainable forms. And so our gentle journey through the peaceful world of Animal Crossing draws to its natural close, like the last notes of a lullaby fading into the contented silence of a well-loved home. We have walked together through communities where kindness is not just an ideal but a daily practice, where the simple act of greeting a neighbor can transform an ordinary morning into something touched with quiet magic, and where every season brings its own gifts of beauty and connection that remind us of life's enduring capacity for renewal and wonder. In these stories of Tom Nook's patient guidance and the Able sisters' resilient love, of Blather's scholarly devotion and KK, Slider's musical gifts, of wandering merchants and mysterious visitors who bring the wider world to our doorsteps, we find reflections of the timeless truths that make human community possible, that genuine prosperity comes from lifting others up, that true wealth is measured in friendships rather than possessions, and that the greatest adventures often unfold not in distant lands, but in the daily miracle of neighbors, choosing to care for one another, across all the small challenges and quiet celebrations that mark the passage of shared time. As sleep begins to claim you now, carry with you the gentle wisdom of these island communities, where every sunrise brings new possibilities for kindness, and every evening settles into grateful rest, knowing that tomorrow will offer fresh opportunities to tend the gardens of connection that make life beautiful, meaningful, and endlessly worth celebrating.